All right, let's get right into it and talk about the single most important question in B2B marketing. Are your LinkedIn ads actually making you money? I mean, you're spending a premium to be on the platform, you're getting leads, but can you confidently walk into a budget meeting and prove the profit you're driving? For a lot of marketers, the answer is a nervous, maybe? Well, today we are going to change that. We're going to build the exact framework you need to calculate your true ROI, turning your ad spend from a mysterious cost into a predictable revenue engine.
You know the feeling, right? You're pouring thousands, maybe tens of thousands of dollars into LinkedIn every single month. You see the clicks, you get the form fills, but when you try to trace that spend all the way to a closed deal, the trail just goes cold. That gap between your marketing actions and actual business revenue, that's where budgets get cut and confidence gets lost. We're here to bridge that gap for good. $65. That's a pretty typical cost per thousand impressions, or CPM, on LinkedIn. And honestly, the data shows it can swing anywhere from $20 all the way past $90. The point is, this is not a cheap platform. It's a premium one, and for good reason. It gives us incredible access to decision makers. But when you're paying this kind of premium, you just can't afford to guess. Every single dollar needs to be accounted for.
And that brings us to a really fundamental mindset shift. So many marketers live and die by their cost per lead. And look, CPL is a useful metric for sure, but it only tells you the cost of getting someone's contact info. It tells you nothing about the quality or the value of that lead. ROI, on the other hand, that measures actual profit. That's the language your CFO speaks. Shifting your focus from just CPL to ROI is how you go from being a campaign manager to a strategic driver of growth. So how do we actually make that shift? Well, we do it with a simple but really powerful ROI calculator framework. And don't worry, this isn't some crazy, complex data science project. It's a logical model that connects your marketing inputs directly to sales outputs, giving you a clear, undeniable picture of your financial impact. Let's build it together, step by step. The whole thing really just breaks down into 3 simple stages. First, we're going to gather a few key numbers from both our ad platform and our CRM. Second, we use those metrics to calculate the total revenue that we've generated. And third, we just plug it all into one final straightforward formula to find our ROI percentage. That's it. So let's look at the inputs we'll need. Okay, what's so cool about this list is that it basically forces sales and marketing to get aligned. For marketing, we need our total ad spend and the number of leads we generated. Easy enough. But then we gotta go talk to sales. Of all those leads, what percentage actually turned into a qualified sales opportunity? And then of those opportunities, what percentage did the sales team actually close? And finally, what's our average deal size, our average contract value? You see, these 6 variables create the complete story from the very first click to the final check. And here it is, the brilliantly simple final step. Once you've figured out the total revenue from your ad-driven deals, the formula's easy. You take that revenue, you subtract your ad spend to find your net profit, and then you divide that profit by the ad spend again. Multiply by 100, and there's your ROI as a percentage. So a 300% ROI means for every single dollar you put in, you got $4 back. Simple as that. Okay, theory is one thing, but let's see how this actually plays out in the real world. We're going to walk through 2 different B2B case studies, one for a scrappy SMB campaign and another for a larger scale enterprise play, just to see how the math works with different numbers. First up, our SMB. They invested a modest $5,000 and got 50 leads from it. Their lead quality is pretty high, so 20% of those become sales opportunities. That gives us 10 ops. The sales team is on fire, closing a quarter of those, which results in 2.5 deals on average. At a $10,000 deal size, that's $25,000 in new revenue. We plug that into our formula and boom, a 400% ROI. Now that is a conversation that gets you more budget. Now let's switch gears and look at the enterprise campaign. The spend is way higher here, $50,000. And the sales cycle is much longer, so naturally the conversion rates are a bit lower, a 15% lead to opportunity rate and a 10% close rate. But the average deal size is a massive $150,000. So even with those lower conversion rates, that huge deal size leads to $225,000 in revenue for an incredibly strong 350% ROI. This just goes to show the model works no matter what scale you're operating at. But what happens if you run the numbers and find your ROI is 0 or even negative? First of all, don't panic. A negative ROI is not a failure. It's a diagnostic tool. It's telling you exactly where your funnel's leaking. As performance marketers, we have 4 main levers we can pull to fix it: our targeting,
our creative, our funnel, and our sales process.
I love this quote because it perfectly captures the core strategy for winning on LinkedIn. See, unlike broader platforms where you might let an algorithm explore a huge audience, LinkedIn is all about precision. You already know your ideal customer, the companies and job titles you want to reach. The goal is to focus your entire budget on that small, high-value pond and waste absolutely nothing on the surrounding ocean.
So, how do we burn the pond? We get surgical. Use matched audiences to upload your list of target accounts, then layer on specific senior job titles. As a general rule, you want to aim for a really tightly defined audience, often under 250,000 people. And this part is absolutely critical. Go into your campaign settings right now and uncheck the box that says Enable Audience Expansion. That thing is designed to spend your money outside of your core target, which is the exact opposite of what we're trying to do.
Next up, your creative. And this slide right here, it's a total game changer. A standard ad you run from your company page, you'll be lucky to get a 0.5% click-through rate. But thought leader ads, which are run from the personal profile of an executive or an expert at your company, can see CTRs over 10%. So why the massive difference? It's because they feel native to the feed. People on LinkedIn want to connect with other people, not with faceless brand logos. Okay, so once your targeting and creative are sharp, you have to look downstream. Is your landing feed actually converting? Is the offer compelling enough for the senior level people you're targeting? And if you have a long sales cycle, you should also be tracking proxy metrics, like engaged visits to key pages on your site. And finally, you have to partner with sales. How fast are they following up? The world's best lead is worthless if it just sits in a queue for a week. Speed to lead is absolutely everything. Now, as you start to put all this into practice, there are a few common technical traps that can completely sabotage your tracking. So let's quickly run through the top 3 pitfalls to make sure your data is clean right from day one. First, and this might seem obvious, but you have to make sure your LinkedIn Insight tag and conversion tracking are set up correctly. Without it, you're flying completely blind. Second, as we've already hammered home, disable audience expansion. And third, disable the LinkedIn Audience Network. This setting lets your ads run on thousands of third-party partner apps and sites, which is just a recipe for low-quality traffic and wasted spend. Keep your ads on the core LinkedIn platform where they belong. So, let's bring this all home. After looking at the framework, the case studies, and all the optimization levers, what is the single most important takeaway from all of this? It's really about finding the one metric that truly matters. And here it is. The crucial point is this: ROI is your North Star. Look, vanity metrics like impressions and clicks are directional, and even tactical metrics like cost per lead have their place, but ROI is the only metric that proves, in the language of business, that marketing is a profit center. When you focus on ROI, you're not just running ads, you are actively building the business. You now have the complete playbook to measure and improve your LinkedIn ads performance. The question is no longer, is it working, but how can we make it work even better? So what are you going to optimize first? Let me know down in the comments. Are you going to refine your targeting, test out a thought leader ad, or sit down with your sales team to map out the entire funnel? If this was helpful, a like and subscribe would be amazing. Now go make some profit.